I can remember thinking that I was gonna get married like late.
When I was younger, I never really thought about marriage. Like my parents were married and stuff, but it wasn't a whole lot of people around me married.
It wasn't something that I grew up thinking about or fantasizing about. It's just something that I don't know. I just put it off as something that I'll get to maybe one day.
Like a lot of my friends, like they either had single parents or their parents were divorced or something, and so for me it was like marriage just it wasn't like on the forefront of my mind.
Eventually, you just get to a point where you want to know that you're going somewhere. You want to kind of lay down a foundation for what you have.
You advance your relationship like to another level. It's like being serious about it from like being okay and just the agreement to say like we just cool and we gonna be down for each other, but it's like an agreement with God.
I went from, thinking that it was somewhere far away to, just kind of, it happened like kind of quickly, and my feelings were deep and they were set. And so when he proposed, it was very exciting. I was totally there with him, and I was glad for us to move on to that new chapter.
I didn't know I was ready to be married until the moment came. I know that might sound like cliche-ish or whatever, but like it wasn't until I understood how serious the union was, and also like meeting somebody who you feel like you can build with.
All the bliss around the wedding day. It just felt like you would be in that permanent state of, things coming together beautifully. That's not true.
When we first got engaged, we actually took our relationship with God more serious together, and we started attending church more on a regular basis and being more involved, in the body of Christ, and we just got better because of it. And it felt like lately over like a bunch of these small little issues have been kind of chipping away at like kind of what we built.
I didn't know that we would have so many differences or they would be so pronounced once we got married. Like, I didn't realize, like, in so many ways, we are total opposites.
Like the time you wake up, like your partner might like getting up very early, and like you might not be a morning person.
If I'm freezing cold, he's burning up hot. If he's burning up hot, I'm freezing cold.
Did you put the rags in this certain clothes hamper and not that clothes hamper?
He likes the lighting to be dark. I like the lighting to be bright.
Toothpaste, like who left the top off the toothpaste, or
He likes cold ketchup. I gotta have it warm. He likes cold water. I gotta have it warm.
the way y'all choose to discipline kids, um, like what type of punishment, how long, for what.
It's just so many things that I didn't realize that, we like things the polar opposite way. I guess I didn't think about it before.
Some things I didn't expect um, when we got married was I guess you thought that you had it all kind of figured out and together, like as far as your issues.
Or maybe when we were young in our relationship, we just kind of were more willing to compromise. And now that we've kind of been in it for a while, um, I don't know, it seems like it's dwindling down a little bit in some ways.
One of our issues is that like when I want to go out now, I'm not going out, downtown and no crazy parties and that, but I just want to go like to my homeboy house or my cousin house, maybe watch the game, chill out for a little bit. We might be standing outside, we might be listening to some music or something like that, not nothing big. And I noticed that she just like every time I mention going out, that I feel tension.
I don't have a problem with my husband going out. I don't have like insecurities that he's doing something wrong per se. But, you know, I just kind of feel like you're rushing to go do nothing. As you like you say that you're not doing anything, so like what's the big rush? And it's like sometimes I feel like that the kids and I aren't cared for.
We have an issue like that I can't go out and enjoy myself, and I'm like, well, like we do have to have friends and be social outside of each other. So I don't see what the big deal is with just going out and taking a break.
My husband uh, does not have the same views that I have on chores and cleanliness and decency and order.
Another one of our issues is that like I always get blamed for not helping out.
Doesn't really go to the store or buy household things, and sometimes I wonder if he knows how the toothpaste showed up. He might think that there's a never-ending toothpaste supply, like in a ceiling or something, and the toothpaste just falls out of the ceiling when it sees that the other toothpaste is just about gone, and it just lands on the counter, ready for him to use.
I'm a big sports fan, and my wife really does not care for a ball, a bat, a field, a hoop. She don't really get down with sports, so sometimes it causes a little bit of a conflict because it's something that I look at as entertaining, fun, refreshing, take my mind to escape from reality, and she look at it as like a game.
And I just kind of feel like, where's that passion in other areas? I'm not saying that, that he's a passionless guy. I'm just saying, like, all the effort that I see him put into sports, I just feel like, where's that in other areas of your life? Like, why is that so important? So, I don't know, like, maybe I'm just getting to a point where I'm just starting to resent it a little bit.
We've been like at a little tough spot, right now. She kind of been, well, my wife been asking about counseling, and our usual remedies not working.
When the prayers stopped, the problems just got so magnified. So, I prayed and I said, Lord, we need help. And that's when I came across the counselor, and I felt like he was speaking. So I wanted to take advantage of that opportunity. I know my husband, he felt uneasy, but I was going to try.
It's worth giving it a try, I guess.
Come in. Welcome, Mr. and Mrs. Jones.
Hi, Dr. Watson.
Hello. Have a seat.
How you doing, Doc?
Doing pretty good. The question of the hour is, how are you?
So we're in counseling, and I'm just praying that it goes well.
I hope this goes quick.
We've been better.
Okay. So better means not worse. That's fantastic. Would you like to elaborate?
So I called you because we were having a little trouble at home, and we had just gotten to a point where it didn't seem like we could solve our issues.
Mr. Jones, how does that make you feel?
Um, Honestly, I'm just here because there's something that she wanted to do. I don't really believe in counseling like that. I figure we can solve our own problems without having somebody else solve them for us. But I mean, it is what it is. We here, so
What do you mean it is what it is? We both know that we aren't communicating. We're not functioning like happily married people. So I suggest that we do something that helps us. And you come here and then you say that there's no point of this. He looks at me as somebody who gives him rules. And I don't give him rules. I just try to let him know that there's a way that we have to function.
Don't do this. Don't do that. Put this here. Bring this over here.
And sometimes it seems like he's just on his own planet. If I didn't set the rules for the household, we would operate in chaos. He is a great dad when he is present in the moment, but it rarely happens.
Mr. Jones, how's your work schedule?
Work, 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 work.
I work a lot of hours.
Work, 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 work.
Sometimes I work 10 to 12 hours a day, depending on what my job needs from me.
Work, 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 work.
The kids gotta be fed, and we need a roof over our heads. So
He doesn't cry about it, physical tears, but I see the damage that it's causing. It comes out in his frustration, his withdrawal, his lack of energy for things that have to do with the family. It's having an effect on him. It's having an effect on all of us.
but what? I'm sorry, but what if I don't work hard? Then how am I able to provide?
He has something made up in his head about what he's supposed to do as far as providing.
And if I don't provide, then I'll get the "you not providing enough" speech, and
No,
I'm on my own. I'm doing
No,
it on my own.
I
So
never accuse you of not being a good provider. And you can provide well within the hours that normal people work.
Yeah, I would rather be home more and spend more time, with my family, but
That's your own choice to go above and beyond, and it's okay. But if it tears us down, then I don't think you should do it.
she the one that say, we need more money. I want a vacation here. I want this type of kitchen. I mean,
No, if I had a choice, I would rather have you than the extra money. And I've told you that before.
if you rather have me, then it's some stuff that you're gonna have to give up. All the eating out and doing all these extra things, some stuff gonna have to be cut out.
I watch my mom have to do so much and work so hard that I told myself that I would never allow my family to want for anything, or my wife to have to work so hard, that I will always be there to provide.
All I hear is ego.
Ego? Really? Ego?
I puffed up, I want to be the big man in charge, and it's not working. Me, big man. Me bring home bacon.
Well, I think I've heard enough. I know that it takes two. Marriage is not one-sided. It is not just about one individual's opinion nor the other. However, it takes two. Prior to the children, how hard did you work just to bring a smile on each other's face?
It was a lot easier than before the children. I mean, we're here at this place now, but I can just remember feeling my best, when I was with him. I just remember us being so carefree and just we just got along so well. We were like best friends. And somewhere along the way, we stopped being friends, and it's almost like we're business partners or, co-parenting, but not friends anymore.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. I used to go over and beyond, to make her happy, and it was actually easy to do because it was fun to explore new things and take care of somebody that you care for.
This does take two, and That includes me, and I'm trying.
So I know that the concern was irreconcilable differences. I remember we kind of touched on that a little on the telephone. However, I see two wonderful individuals that are willing to weather the storm. I have a question. Is there an opportunity for you to carve out just some dating time? Maybe not every day, perhaps every day. Any time at all that you can carve out some dating time.
I think that we should. It just never feels like the right time. The kids are just constantly needing things, and I don't know.
I really understand that she cares for the kids, but it gets to a point where she has to ease up. Can somebody tell this woman she is not the first mother ever and that the kids have another parent, So
Mr. Jones?
Um, I'm always willing to carve out dating time. I mean, you just her response right there just show you kind of like what I got to go through to like, I want to go out on a date. Let's set this date up, and then there's always something with the kids coming up.
I mean,
Why?
they need things. See, if you would be around enough, you would know that they need stuff all the time. It's a 24-hour day job. And just because you're not aware of all their needs doesn't mean that they don't have them.
I don't believe it's a 24-hour day job. I don't.
Here we are. Here's the circle. This is the pattern that we've been in for the longest time, and we're not getting anywhere.
Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I appreciate your time today. As we're bringing our session to a close, I'd like to suggest some homework.
Okay.
First and foremost, prayer. As Christians, it is our foundation, and I'd like you to spend some earnest time together as a couple praying and seeking the face of God. Secondly, I'd like you to read a few books that I have. These books really talk about just the advantages of married couples. Oftentimes we see the challenges, we see the distractions that marriages encounter on a daily basis. However, there are some specific advantages that I need you guys to take a look at together. Again, you can read the books together or separately, but when we come back together, we're going to talk about them and talk about your impressions of what you got from the books. Third, this is a big one. I need you to hear each other ever so more intimately. Mr. Jones, I really need you to validate your wife. She is beautiful. She is to be revered among women. And she's your prized possession. She requires your validation. So every now and again, just letting her know how beautiful she is, how much you appreciate her. Those types of things go a long way. So validation is something that I need you to do. And then Mrs. Jones, I need you to hear your husband. When he speaks to you and he references how he's feeling, let's work hard not to cancel or negate it and change it into something else. As a man, when he speaks, respect is what he's looking for. He appreciates when you hear him and then you agree with him. Not always will we agree specifically, but you're not changing his mind and changing it into something else. So please, let's work on that.
Okay. I've been going about this the wrong way. God, I hear you. That's what I'm being told. That it's time for me to hear, to listen. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work with you and do what I need to do to make this thing right.
Marriage is an investment. Anything you want is worth fighting for. I believe you guys can make it. I really do. You guys are a phenomenal couple. 10 years of marriage, an entire decade. That is something to celebrate. That is definitely something that many people cannot hold near and dear to their hearts. But you guys have weathered numerous storms. whether the storms were financial, whether they were emotional, whether they were physical. You guys have endured great challenge and great circumstance, and you've been able to overcome. So this little pitfall that we're presently encountering, this little pothole in the road, I believe our tires, if you will, are strong enough to endure any bump, any bruise. As I started off with your first assignment, prayer is key. The Lord will be speaking to you. He will be pulling on your heartstrings. And as scripture declares, the day that you hear his voice, harden not your heart. Allow the Lord to come in and to do the impossible like only he can. When you hear the Lord, act, respond to his will. Trust that he's speaking directly to you.
All right, God. I hear you, Father. I hear you speaking. We have been slacking. I'm willing to do what it takes. I just need your help. We need your help to restore what we had.
So thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. I appreciate your time, and do your homework, and I expect to see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Dr. Watson.
Thank you, Doc.
You're welcome.
It was so refreshing to have someone with fresh eyes, unbiased, just come in and, let us know where we stood. And not only where we stood, but where we could go.
When we first went to counseling, I didn't think nothing good was going to come from it. I wasn't feeling it. Our problems were getting bigger and bigger, but going taught me something. It allowed me to do some reflection on our relationship, on myself, personally and spiritually.
You need encouragement. You need advice. And there are people who are probably in your circle who want to see you succeed.
Sometimes you get so caught up in your own issues or what somebody's not doing or their shortcomings that you forget about the good things, the good times.
A lot of things have been beginning to change. We are determined to stick in there and make it work.
So some of the changes that I made while looking at myself was I was definitely going to cut back on the work hours. I did, and it made improvements in our relationship.
My husband told me a while back that I should just tell him what I need. And to me, that doesn't make sense because I'm like, you should know what we need. But you know what? I took him at his word. And when I felt like I needed something, I just told him. No attitude. No, I just gave him the facts and he helped out.
I learned that working hard and paying the bills is only a portion of providing. That it's not the whole picture. As a man, you feel like long as you're making the money and long as you're there at home, but you can be home and not be present.
He has started this new thing where he cooks dinner and he puts the kids to bed and make sure I have everything I need before going out, which works for me because then I get some alone time with myself and he gets to have his refreshing time out of the house, and it works out for everybody.
She made major improvements. We've been going on dates. Like she been scheduling out time for us to do that, finding babysitters and stuff like that.
Grandparents are helping out, aunts are helping out, uncles, cousins. People, were very willing to pitch in and get the kids. So we've made date night a thing, just like we were advised.
I had been seriously lacking in my relationship with God. I had not been scheduling out prayer time, giving him his time. And over these last few weeks, I've really rededicated myself to him.
I had a real come to Jesus moment where I had to get in my quiet space and lay it out before him. And when I did, it was almost like the scales fell from my eyes, where he was showing me so many things that I didn't realize.
Another thing I realized was like over time, especially as a man growing up, like your mother kind of lays out rules for you growing up. And when you get out on your own, you kind of want to do what you want to do. And I took that mentality and I took it into my marriage. So whenever my wife would want something in a certain order, then I would look at it as rules.
I found that sometimes I think that I don't do any wrong. Why? Because he doesn't complain about it. But I'm learning that just because he doesn't complain about it doesn't mean that I don't get on his nerves too. So, with that in mind, I have to extend the same grace that I would like for him to extend to me.
God, Jesus, he is a God of order. So when things are out of order, they get out of whack. And when things are out of whack, problems come, destruction comes, and sometimes darkness and divorce comes. And what I realized that when I put God back number one, then he restored my marriage, myself, restored my wife to me, and allow us to flourish and move forward together.
I kind of looked at it as if I could handle certain things and then God would handle other things. Certain things were in his hand and certain things were in my hand, and that wasn't true. And I always thought, like, with my marriage, yes, he blessed it. Yes, he was there, but then I had to figure it out on my own. And that wasn't true. So, within the first week of increasing our prayers, increasing our devotional time, everything just started to blossom.
I remember specifically on our wedding day, when my wife was walking down the aisle. I remember like how beautiful she looked. I remember just being like pumped on the inside to be like we doing this thing, we doing this.
At the wedding, when I was coming down the aisle, I remember my husband's eyes. I mean, he almost looked like a little boy who was like at peak excitement, just so happy. And then at that moment, I felt safe. I felt like I knew this was the right decision.
It was a special moment where the pastor, after the ceremony, we said our vows, called everybody up to pray for our marriage. And I remember like just people down on their knees worshiping God at the altar, praying over us, like praying over us. And I remember I felt God's presence so much that I knew I was in the right place. I knew that I made the right decision, and I still know now that I did.
We stood before a group of our loved ones and we made a vow. We made a promise. And of course, life isn't perfect. Things happen. But this was definitely worth fighting for.
Definitely worth fighting for, no doubt about it. And we are better because of it. God has just continued to improve on our union. As we sit together here, we're like two teenagers again. He has restored us. He has restored our marriage, our family. And it's because we put him first.
Right. That was the key. The key that we were missing, the key that was in our pocket all along. We had to put God first and realize. Remember when we did the 3-strand cord?
Yeah.
It was like, it just seems like a nice metaphorical concept at the time, but it was truly what we needed. When we intertwined him in our lives, that's what held us together. That is what made us strong.
We looking forward to our future, getting old and gray.
Starting to happen now.
Right. Getting old and gray together, watching our kids grow together, and looking forward to this journey. And guess what? Let me tell you how good God is. He's so good that he got my wife watching football. Look at the shirt.
Go team.
Yeah, he is a great God. He can do miracles. We know that if you are going through something in your marriage and your union, to give it to God. Your foundation has to be built purely on faith. Faith, family, and love will all come together as one. Y'all be stronger than ever. God bless. Yes, I do. Thank God for you. Yes, I do. I do. I thank God for you. I thank God for you. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I thank God for you. I thank God for you. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I thank God for you. I thank God for you. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I thank God for you. I thank God for you. Yes, I do. You are.